spooky soulmates. Thanks for joining us today. And we have what would you describe this episode as?
Divination, though we've been over some other divination types before. I didn't realize how many until I started researching. But it's like a divination episode. It's going to be really, really fun. I'm so excited.
It has a little bit to do with what we did in one of our previous episodes. Hey, Kaila.
I'm not guessing a card, but I did get a tarot card reading, and we're going to talk about that.
Yes. So we're talking about psychics, people who can see into the future, stories of things that have come true that people have predicted.
We wanted to know like just how much truth there was to this stuff. I mean, okay, so one of the types of divination is astrology. And whenever I read my horoscope, I think it's different for you, but for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is me. You know, I'm a Pisces. It's very emotional, very mood driven. So for me, astrology has always rang true.
Yeah.
And I just like to look at it like when I'm bored. I still don't understand the whole like Mercury and retrograde thing, but
Right. I'm a Taurus, and I'm nothing like a Taurus. Like nothing like a Taurus. I like food. Like I guess Taurians enjoy the finer things in life and find food. And...
But isn't a Taurus an earth sign? I feel like you're very earthy. You're very grounded.
Oh, really? You think I'm grounded? Thank you.
You're welcome.
If that was a compliment, I'll take it. Yeah, it's an earth sign. Yeah. I mean, I am afraid of water, so it's a good thing I'm not a water sign.
You're afraid of water?
Yeah, deep water.
Well, open water. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought you meant like you wouldn't even go in a pool.
Oh, no. Pool. Yeah. If I can see the bottom, I'm cool.
Were you like the kid that like when you'd get in the Olympic sized pool, you'd imagine a shark in the 12-foot deep end?
100%.
Yeah. I still can't. It just wigs me out.
Yeah.
There's no logic to it. I used to imagine a shark coming up the bathtub drain.
All right. I don't know if I ever went like that route. I did. Oh my gosh. I just had a flashback of something I was terrified with water. Okay. So you were too young for this.
The story of our lives.
I know. But I used to watch Nick at Night with my parents all the time, you know, because they'd be watching it. And back in the day, you had to watch what was on TV. And so if your parents were watching a show, you watched that show.
Exactly. You couldn't go turn a different channel in a different room.
No. And you couldn't, like, if you were a parent, you couldn't wait until your kids were in bed to, like, turn on your show. Like, it was on when it was on. So a lot of times I feel kids in the 90s or earlier, they watched a lot of inappropriate things because their parents were just living their lives. Or at least mine did, you know. So they watched Dragnet. It was kind of an investigation type.
This is where you got your start.
Maybe.
An investigation.
And I remember something happened where somebody was murdered and they were in a bathtub full of blood. And it just like terrified me to the core. I don't know what it was.
But obviously not that much, because then you had like a deep rooted like interest in true crime and ghosts.
I think a lot of it had to do with my childhood.
It's how you recovered from the trauma. Just became infinitely curious.
Today's episode is actually a therapy session for Rachel. For her
I've been
childhood.
telling you need to go to therapy.
Whoa. I think, to be fair, everyone needs therapy.
That's true. Therapy does not mean you're doing bad.
It just means that you need to like work things out and, you know, like maybe get to the root of things and grow as a person. I think we are all constantly growing as people. And if you're not, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. Well, even therapists go to therapy.
Right. Good for them.
Because they got to stay grounded.
Absolutely. We got way off track.
We did. But it was really interesting. Actually, it's not that far off track because I do need to explain why I go to therapy.
Okay. All right.
So for everybody to understand the significance of my tarot reading at the end of the episode, I'm just going to come out and say it. I have bipolar disorder. A lot of people have mental illnesses. And so I've been going to therapy for like 6 or 7 years, however long I've been diagnosed. And so that really comes into play with my tarot reading later.
Right.
So I feel like you know that, but I feel like the rest of the podcast world probably needs to know that as well. So
right. All right. So I guess before we jump into it, we have a few things to talk about.
Yes.
You know where to find us. I feel, well, we can run down it real quick.
Yeah. I mean, Facebook, the Good Luck Sleeping Podcast. Instagram, Good Luck Sleeping Podcast. Twitter is GL Sleeping. If you want to send us a spooky story, we have a phone number now, which is 470-269-0226.
You memorized it already?
Did.
Good job. I will never, not once in our like
I know.
entirety of our podcast, never will I memorize it, but good for you. Okay.
And thank you for the people who've sent in stories. We kind of had like a little influx. It was exciting.
We did. I know we
I've
almost
gotten 2 voicemails.
Yeah. And we had a few more sent to our Gmail. So we are building up our next listener stories episode, which is really exciting.
Yeah, and our Gmail is goodlucksleepingpodcast@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can find us on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcast, Apple, and our website, goodlucksleeping.libsyn.com.
Indeed.
So, one thing that we need to ask you guys for, you have all requested another Scary Stories episode.
Yes.
We have decided that in like a month or two, we're going to do a Scary Stories episode, but we are going to write a story each. And we would like to see if you guys want to submit scary stories of your own to potentially be picked to be in that episode. So the Scary Stories episode is the one that has the cool sound effects. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And it's really hard to find non-copyrighted scary stories. So if you would like to write a scary story, take a whack at that, we'll, give you full credit in the episode and put the sound effects to it.
I'm excited about that one. And I have a few like little
Yeah, Rachel's like, hey, I wrote half a scary story last night. I'm like, shut up.
But I couldn't sleep. Yeah.
But I think it'll be an exciting episode.
I do too. And also we have to do it this way because we found out that we really can't use, even if we, what's it called? Like,
even if you give them credit,
yes,
you can't use no sleep stories
off
Reddit
or creepypasta or any of those. So that was a no-no. We didn't realize, but I guess this just makes us get creative.
We're growing. We're talking about that growth, Rachel.
Indeed.
So if you guys want to send us a scary story, if you can put in the subject scary stories instead of like, this is a haunting, because we don't want to get them mixed up, and then just send it to our email, we will let you know if we're going to include it in the episode.
Yeah. So send them in.
Yay.
All right. Well, I don't really even want to talk about my week because it was the shittiest
Mine
of
was
shitty
mundane,
weeks.
and I don't,
Okay. I had the worst week, but it's over and I just want to move on from it. So I think we should just jump right into it. And you're going to start us out with a little bit of the history and the meaning behind the cards, right?
Yes.
Okay.
A little bit.
Okay.
I did not realize until like 5 minutes ago that the tarot cards were actually like playing cards for a game. Like, it was kind of a game similar to bridge. I think it was called like piquet or something.
Oh.
Or piquet.
It's not.
It's French.
Like a game that like the Ouija board is a game.
It started out that way. They both started as like parlor games. And then sometime in the 18th century, some like oracle type people started using them for divination, which is funny because you use playing cards to do the little psychic ESP thing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that's what happened is the oracle was like, there's suits and there's like kings and I can use this,
Oh, okay.
So it ended up becoming something to kind of help you make some decisions. Now, the thing with tarot cards, there's a lot of myths that surround the tarot cards. It is not a yes or no answer. It's not a guaranteed thing. It's not, if you get the death card, that doesn't mean you're going to die. That could mean the end of your career. It could mean the end of a phase of life.
Or a relationship.
Or a relationship. Yeah. If you get the devil card, it doesn't mean you're possessed by Satan. It can just mean, there's other things that they can mean. And when I had my tarot reading, I found out that like all the cards have to be considered. You can't just focus on one card. And it really just gives you like a possibility.
Okay.
But you are the one who decides your future. You are the one who decides your reality. And the guy who, I'll talk about him later, but who did the tarot reading kept expressing that to me because I was like, so is it a yes? I was very confused, but he was very patient with me. So anyway, you have to understand, like, if, like you had expressed that you had some anxiety about tarot readings.
I'm terrified of psychics, guys. Like, terrified.
Well, you're terrified of what they're going to say.
Yeah, I don't want to know. It's like, when people ask you the question of if you could find out when exactly you were going to die and how, would you want to know? I would 100% not want to know.
Because you'd sit there and obsess over it until it happens.
Yes.
You'd never enjoy life again.
No. Yeah. And I have like, if we're just, airing out all of our what's it called? Mental illnesses.
Why not?
I have anxiety and I have hypochondria. So, I
didn't understand how badly until this episode because we had to have some hearts because I could not grasp why she was so scared. It didn't faze me the way it did her.
So yeah, you have imperfect hosts, but that's okay because we're all imperfect.
Yes, and that makes us more willing to understand your imperfections.
Exactly. I love that our group is a no judgment
yes.
place, and everybody can express themselves and kind of dig into these taboo topics without feeling judged because we're all interested in it and we're all just this one big family.
Exactly.
And I feel like that should extend to every part of our lives, including the struggles that we go through. So anyway, yes, I have hypochondria, and so if he pulled the death card or if he pulled a card that was scary, like even if I could interpret it in a normal way, my brain would not let me interpret it that way, and so I just had to like stay away from this. So Kaila was the one that I don't want to say took one for the team, but she was the one that
I was intrigued.
Yeah,
I didn't know exactly what it entailed. I didn't know what the outcome would be. Yeah, but I was willing to like see what they said. Yeah. I actually had a friend who was like, but can't the devil control them? And the guy that was reading the cards, he was like, I really don't think, like, at first he thought I misunderstood and thought it was like a supernatural thing, like the Ouija board is, like demons can contact you or whatever.
Well, he was almost kind of worried that we were not mocking it maybe, but almost.
Yeah, I think the way that, like, I just put it out on Twitter. I'm like, hey, does anybody read tarot cards and would be willing to do a reading, And he was just like, I'm not sure that I'm for you, And I was like, well, we are a paranormal podcast, but we research things. We like to study things and then relay what we find to, our friends. So he was much happier after that, and he offered to kind of like give me some backstory on how it became the spooky thing, but we didn't have time to talk about it because I asked a very serious question and he didn't want to make fun of that, which I appreciated. So I'll just give you what I found from my research. So divination is like a way to uncover things about your past, your present, possibly your future. We have looked into several. We've looked into clairvoyance, which is psychics.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
We've looked into astrology, which is star signs. We've unfortunately looked into the Ouija board. Numerology, when we did the angel numbers, reading numbers. That's the divination. Today, on today's episode, we're looking into taromancy or cartomancy, which is cards.
It sounds like necromancy.
That's another way of divination, actually.
Isn't that having sex with dead people?
No.
Yes, it is.
It's bringing people back from the dead.
Oh.
Necrophilia is having sex with How are you gonna get your future from having sex with dead birds?
That's why I was confused.
Okay. Oh, I love you so much.
Moving on.
Oh, and the other one we're gonna look at is chiromancy, which is palm reading. Oh. It's not chiropractic. We're not popping your back. I know you need help.
All right.
I know you need help, but I can't help you there. I can just read your palm. I just thought this was kind of funny. I wanted to throw these weird divinations in. There's uromancy, which is reading urine.
No.
Yes. Urticariomancy, which is reading body itches.
Dude.
Like, have you ever heard the superstition, like, if your hand is itching, it means you're going to come into some money? You've never heard that?
No.
Okay, well. I think it goes with that. I don't know.
Interesting. Well, then there's like tea leaves too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there's alluromancy, which is reading the behavior of cats.
I want to study that.
I know. I was really intrigued by that. Okay. So anyway, taromancy is predicting the future or possible outcomes through the tarot cards. Tarot readers commonly believe that the future is fluid and absolute predictions of the future events are impossible. In fact, they can offer guidance, but the reality is up to you. And that's very important to remember because you can definitely get some scary cards.
Yeah.
The death card, like I said, doesn't mean physical death. It can be the death of a path in your life. Tarot readings are intended to arm the subject with additional information so that they may make more informed choices. It's an avenue of research for subjects who face difficult choices. So if you're having a hard time being decisive, it can kind of give you some guidance like, oh, this might be more possible for you,
Okay.
kind of taps into your intuition. It's almost like the visuals of the cards just kind of like bring up your subconscious thought and your intuition, and that's how it guides you. So it's not supernatural. It's not like the spirits are like, here's what's happening to you, you know?
Right.
And it's not the tarot reader. The tarot reader uses their intuition because they're very empathetic. Some of them are psychic. They use their intuition to interpret the cards for you, and then you kind of finish that interpretation by relating it to your life.
Okay. I wouldn't, I mean, I believe in everything. So like I can be easily swayed into believing in tarot cards 100%. But I do feel like since there's so much up in the air and it's so much up to your interpretation or their interpretation, it's almost like you could pull anything you wanted to out of them.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
And that was kind of like the end of my tarot reading was kind of like that. I almost thought he was pulling my leg. And I'll read what he said. But he was trying to explain it, and I understood that later. But at first I was like, wait, you had me go through all these cards, and then you were just like, but it's up to you. And I was just like, I'm confused. But then he explained it further, and it made more sense. So I'll read what he said. Okay. Tarot readings begin when the reader deals the cards into a spread. There are different types of spreads to look at different things, and the tarot reader will kind of decide what spread they're going to use. So for mine, he used 4 cards just laid out, and he read from left to right. There's some like really complex ones. There's like actual named ones like the Celtic Cross and like all this stuff. I didn't want to get into that because it was really confusing. But they use them to kind of give you different readings for different things. Okay. Each card is read based on its value and position in the spread. So like I said with mine, he read left to right. So that was very important because I kept trying to jump from left all the way to the right. And he's like, no. We got to go back to the second card. The standard tarot decks have 2 types of cards. There's major and minor arcana cards. The 22 major arcana cards represent life's karmic and spiritual lessons. And the 56 minor arcana cards reflect the trials and tribulations that we experience on a daily basis. So the way that he explained it to me, the major arcana cards have like 4 suits. And so it's telling what your desires are, basically, what your hangups are. So it's like really digging in to how you're feeling about this stuff. And then the minor arcana cards are like, okay, so you really want this, but this could possibly happen to you. So it's like the trial and tribulation that you could run into.
Okay. Did you picked the cards or he picked the cards?
He laid them out. I asked the question, he laid them out and took a screenshot so that I knew what 4 cards there were. So he couldn't change it or anything like that. And he sent that to me before he ever started the reading.
Okay.
So,
because you did this through...
Yeah, he did it through Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah. Apparently that's very common. That you don't have to be in person. And a lot of times tarot readers won't even let you touch their deck because it can like mess with the energy.
Juju or whatever.
Yeah, mess with the energy.
Okay.
So they're divided into 4 suits. Okay. So there's 4 suits. There's coins, which is kind of like the monetary side of things. Then you have batons, swords, and cups. The batons speak to your desire, your will, or your passion. The swords are mental and intellect. Cups are emotion. And then coins are like financial. Then you have each suit contains 10 cards numbered 1 through 10, like a regular playing card deck would.
Sure.
Those usually are kind of like how passionate you are about something. So if you get like a 1, you're not that passionate about this question. You're not really that worried about it. If you get a 10, okay, it's something you're really considering. Each suit also includes face cards referred to as the page, knight, queen, and king. And then the major arcana are standalone cards with their own unique meanings. These include cards like the devil, strength, temperance, the hanged man, the fool, and death. For many psychics and magical practitioners, the cards are simply a medium to help trigger the reader's particular talent to sense a subject situation and help them understand it. So you like the way we are empathetic and we can kind of see what's going on with someone, they use these cards to kind of draw that out of people so that they can help them work through it. So it's kind of like therapy again.
Because in the end, it really is up to them based on the tools that they are given.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
For others, it taps into the universal mind or the gods to give meaning to the cards. It depends on what you're bringing to the table.
Okay.
Tarot cards are not believed to work for just anyone, but only someone with the gift, and some decks only work for certain people. So the guy who did my tarot reading, he is on Twitter at Tarot and Coffee.
That's so cute. I like it.
I know. He does like the full thing is tarot cards and coffee shops.
Uh-huh.
He actually has written a book, and it is called Tarot Temple of Paper House of Cards.
Okay.
I bought it, but I have not had time to read it because newborn.
Right.
But his pen name is Carlos Escabel. He was super, super nice, super understanding. And so I posed the question, should I have more kids?
Yes.
Why am I asking this question 11 weeks postpartum? I've been thinking about, the newborn stage is very, very hard for anybody.
Yes.
But for someone who has bipolar disorder, the less sleep you get, the more you struggle with your illness.
Yes.
So I've been thinking, can I possibly do this again? I really want a daughter, but there's no guarantee of that either.
Sure.
So I should have asked that. Am I ever going to have a daughter? But I wanted to know, is that something that I should even consider anymore? Or is that something I should go ahead and close the door on and move on with my life? Okay. So he pulled my cards and he sent me a screenshot. I got the 10 of batons.
Okay.
The tower, the wheel, and the valet of swords. And I'll show you what those look like. It's a really colorful deck.
Oh, looks nice.
Yeah. So I was like, what does that mean? I actually said, that's a foreign language for me. Am I supposed to have 10 children? And he goes, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
No. So then he explained, the 4 suits, the coins, the batons, the swords, and the cups. He said, but the 10 of batons speaks to your desire, your will, and your passion. So you basically really, really want more kids. It was interesting that the card picked that up,
Right.
He said the 10 of batons, that's a lot of desire, 10 being the highest number of the numbered tarot cards. He said the tower. Oh, my.
Oh.
And I went, oh.
Not what you want to hear.
No, he goes, so this is a scene of calamity. God is striking the tower from above. People are falling out of it. And then there's hail and flooding to boot.
Okay. Super positive. Great.
I know. So I was like, or he said, is that number 1, what your mental state will be if you have another when things get overwhelming? Number 2, how your relationship will strain. Number 3, how finances will suffer. Or some other thing.
Okay.
And he said, it's not about predicting, but we know how kids can drain us. Is there a negative aspect of moving forward that rings true for you when you look at that scene? And so I was like, yeah. My bipolar disorder. I'm currently 2 months into raising my newborn son, and I'm struggling tremendously. The sleep deprivation alone is really messing me up. And he said, I hear you. He said, things are in as much disorder as possible on that card. So we have a visual metaphor for what you're going through.
Okay.
And it's bad.
Yeah.
So then the wheel. He said this was a common medieval artistic and folkloric device. It represents the unpredictability of life. If you're up now, you'll probably be down later and vice versa. In particular, this spoke to the fickle nature of fate, originally the goddess Fortuna, who is depicted controlling the wheel in many renditions. The wheel doesn't say, well, everything's unpredictable, so good luck. It's more karmic than that, as originally envisioned, with the goddess turning the wheel. Good intentions get rewarded, base motivations get punished, that kind of thing. But to us down here on Earth, the rulings of the gods can seem random and capricious, no? Still, right after the avatar for the worst-case scenario of moving forward, we have a card about how we can't predict what is next. So that scenario you envisioned is not a self-fulfilling prophecy. He said, so far, our story to me says, you want it a lot, but there's a real and possible negative consequence, even a dire one. Yet, there is no more guarantee of that occurring than of things working out in the best possible way. You're having it rough right now, like everyone does in this stage, bipolar or not, which was so sweet to be reminded. And he said, an upturn is coming. Will you trust to Fortuna? Do you believe you're capable of influencing the goddess that spins the wheel? That's the challenge this card poses. The last one.
Yeah,
the Valet of Swords.
Oh, okay.
As you noted, this is certainly applicable here. A little, because I told him, I was like, I think it's interesting that the last card is a mental intellect card, like mental, intellect card. And I have bipolar disorder, which is a mental illness,
yes,
So I felt like it was weird that it was framed with my desire level and the fact that I had a mental illness. So he said, it's certainly applicable. You have your question on your mind. That's how we started. Notice how he points the sword at his head in a way. He's focusing on this as a representation of how we're using this reading as an opportunity for you to really focus on this for a bit. Notice he's looking back at the preceding cards too. So to me, he's looking back at everything we've talked about thus far. This is you in this exact stage of the reading, trying to make sense of it all and decide that message you'll take out of it all.
Okay.
Notice I put the onus on you. I always say a universal maxim is you get out of it what you put into it. So why would even a supposed divination device be any different? If people want an answer that lets them skip all the thinking and processing, just flip a coin, seriously. Unless one literally submits to magical thinking, a valid choice but not one I make, then no, a set of plastic cards that started as court game invented by Catholics for Catholics can't know what you should do or how it will work out.
Huh.
And I was like, so there's no answer other than to decide for myself? Why did we even do this? And he was like, kind of. I always say I don't know for sure how the universe works. And I was like, okay. And he said, part of your choice is deciding how determinative you want to take this. You want to find the answer regardless of where it comes from. The cards, your unconscious, mind, God, the gods, etc.
Okay.
And he said, so if you want more of a clue, you are the final card of the reading as I see it. And I said, is that always the case or just in this spread? And he said, to me, always. And he said, can a person cut themselves with their own sword? Yes. Did that stop people from being valets, squires, and knights? No. He said, your card is someone who took the risk. You've done it already. Swords are intellect, but they're a weapon too. You fight battles with them. Your battle is the one we talked about. There are no guarantees, the wheel.
Yeah.
Going into battle might have negative consequences, the tower. But I think he's looking past those two cards and to the batons, the want. And he said, think about it. What do you see? Will he make it through to the other side? Confirmation bias is the enemy here. Don't fool yourself. So basically, it's all up to me. Whatever choice I want to make. Okay, so this is my take on it.
Uh-huh.
I said, I think like what you said, you get out of it what you put into it. I personally relate things back to God. And for some reason, when you told me about the wheel, it seemed in my heart that I was seeing trust God, not myself. And I also felt like the wheel symbolized whether I make good choices or bad choices now. If I give in to a struggle now, I won't have more children. But if I fight for myself, I could do it again. And he said the name of the second card literally translates to House of God. And I said, the tower? And he said, yes, look at the bottom of it. And there is
it like the
bottom.
Tower of Babel or something?
It's kind of that, yeah. I mean, that's basically what's happening.
Right.
And he said, I don't often point that out.
Oh.
He thought that was really interesting that he felt that he was supposed to point that out to me after I had just said that I kind of like turned things toward God.
Right.
You know? So that was basically the end of the reading. It's not concrete, and that's what they had said in all the research. I think I was expecting more of a like 8-ball answer, like you shake it and it tells you yes or no or maybe later or something. So basically I took it the way that I read it to you guys, was that ultimately it is my decision, but it does look like potentially I'm going to be on the upswing. So
okay,
either that or I'm going to be manic. Who knows? So anyway, that was my tarot reading. It was definitely different than I expected, because I think I was expecting a yes or no answer, but it was really intriguing either way.
Sure.
And I did think that it was so cool how it was very clear that what I was thinking was in those cards.
Right.
And I had not talked to him about any of that before. I had not told him I had bipolar disorder. I had not told him my question prior to that, it just all kind of came together and it made sense to me.
Right. If I got I know this isn't in there, but like a unicorn card, I would be like, oh my God, I'm going to see a unicorn. You know what I mean? Like I'd be like 100% sold. I'm going to see something really rare that nobody else gets to see. No. No, I find it very, very interesting. And I just love that the podcast that we're doing, like this thing that we get to do together, is opening the doors to some really interesting experiences that we wouldn't have otherwise gotten to do. Okay, well, that was very interesting. I liked it. I still don't think I want to do it though. Maybe someday, but
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Yeah, my brain just probably wouldn't appreciate it, but I find it I really enjoyed hearing yours. So, okay, so I'm taking a little bit of a different approach. I'm going to talk a little bit about psychics. So I know that tarot card readers could be psychic.
Yeah,
but
some of them have that ability.
Right, but I am fascinated at fortune tellers, and more specifically the fortunes that they, their predictions coming true. So I'm calling this little part psychic predictions that have come to fruition.
Wow, you're so deep and snazzy.
I'm like a wordsmith. So, yes, psychics. A lot of times they, claim that their abilities come from the beyond. They have spirit guides, and that sometimes they get things very specifically, but sometimes they get things a little bit kind of tarot cardy, where they can kind of interpret it in a few different ways. But I have some specific stories here that have to do with big predictions in the world. And then I am going to talk a little bit about a specific psychic who, just some of her stories with her clients that I find kind of interesting. So
I'm excited.
Okay. My first one here is, should I say where this is from? Probably. This is called 7 Amazing Psychic Predictions, in quotes that came true. And this is from Audi.com. And it is by Beverly Jenkins. Beverly Jenkins.
Jenkins.
Say Jenkins for me. Jenkins.
Jenkins?
Jenkins. Jenkins. Anyway.
Beverly Jenkins.
Yeah, I don't know why that sounds so weird to me. It's a simple last name that I can't say. Okay.
Just call her Bev.
Number 1 is Tana Hoy predicts the Oklahoma City bombing.
Oh.
American Tana Hoy is a psychic medium who claims to not only hear her guides and spirits, but to see them physically as well. Hoy was doing a live radio program in 1995 in Fayetteville, North Carolina, when he... guess it's a boy. When he predicted a deadly terrorist attack on a building in Oklahoma City. Just 90 minutes later, tragedy struck at the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building when Timothy McVeigh and his accomplices orchestrated what was the worst terrorist attack on the U.S. soil prior to 9/11/01. Hoy had also reported his predictions to the FBI 4 months before the attack. Edgar Cayce predicts everything from both world wars to presidential deaths. American Edgar Cayce, sometimes referred to as the Sleeping Prophet, is perhaps the most well-known psychic of the 20th century. Cayce was able to put himself in a meditative state, during which he could answer questions about time, space, reincarnation, spirituality, and current and future events, all with startling accuracy. Cayce is credited with predicting the start and end of World War I and II, the end of the Great Depression, and the deaths of Presidents Franklin D. Roosevelt and John F. Kennedy.
He did all of that?
Yes.
Dang.
I know.
I don't want to talk to him.
I definitely don't want to talk to him either. Okay. Mark Twain. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Famed American writer Mark Twain.
Dang it. I wish I'd gone, he's the famed American writer.
Samuel Clemens is his actual name, is not known for his psychic predictions, yet he made several startling predictions during his lifetime that proved to be eerily accurate. First of all, Twain predicted his own death. He was born in 1835 when Halley's Comet was visible, and he predicted that he would die when Halley's Comet was visible again. Sure enough, Twain died in 1910 when the comet was again visible in the night sky. Twain also foresaw his brother's death.
I don't want this gift.
I don't either. That's what I'm saying. Psychics are terrifying. He had a prophetic dream in which he saw his brother laid out in a coffin, resting between 2 folding chairs in his sister's living room. A few weeks later, his brother Henry was killed in a boating accident, and when Twain entered his sister's parlor, he saw that his brother had been arranged just as he'd envisioned in his dream, complete with a specific flower arrangement resting on his chest.
No, thank you.
Have you heard of the Psychic Twins? They're on YouTube. They're all
over.
Okay.
They're so interesting.
They are. They are Tara and Linda Jameson, and they claim to share one soul. And they claim that they...
That's a little weird.
And they claim that they predicted the attacks on the World Trade Center in New York on September 11th, 2001, while giving an interview on a morning radio program in 1999.
So why... Just curious.
Yep.
Why did none of these people stop these things? Like what?
Well,
I guess nobody would listen?
Well, the Oklahoma City bombing predictor, he did talk to the FBI, but, it's a lot of times they're not taken seriously. They're like, okay, we got real things to do right now, not imaginary things that could happen,
That's fair.
But there are some police officers that do work with psychics. The twins also claim to have predicted several major advances in medical research, including this research study in 2011. Oh, you have to click on it to find it, but I'm not going to click on it. As well as advances in Alzheimer's disease, WikiLeaks leaks. Oh, say that 10 times fast.
WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks leaks and a number of natural disasters across the globe. Okay. So that's all I'm going to give you from that article. And I want to talk a little bit about this psychic from New York. Her name is Susan Saxman, and she has predicted many, 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 many things. Some of her specific stories are the following. One of them is called The Car Accident. And she says, there was a boy that came to me in Florida for a reading. I looked at him and said, you should never drive. Saxman sells the Post. I saw a car accident, a really bad one. So I kept saying, just please never drive. Just stay out of the car. Maybe you shouldn't even bother getting a license. About a month after, I get a call from his mom saying that he died in a car accident. But he wasn't driving. His friend was. His friend was speeding down the highway and the boy was thrown from the car.
That's like your fake story that you told me.
I know, right? Jeez. Okay. The haunted house. There was a woman who came to me and constantly said that her house was haunted, and she was scared of going upstairs because she heard footsteps, Saxman tells the Post. Her dog wouldn't go into the room, her children were scared of going into the room, and I saw that there was a little boy who was left in that room when his family went to the light. His whole family had died, but he didn't go. I told her, around the holidays, give him a teddy bear or a ball or something and leave it in the room. Give him a little present for Christmas. Acknowledge him. She did. She put a little angel candle for him in the room, and she started talking to him. After she did, the boy was gone. Spirits just wanted to be remembered and acknowledged. Okay, the last one I'm going to read gives me the heebie-jeebies, and this is why I'm never, ever, 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 ever going to a psychic. It's called The Disease.
Oh, good.
The moment the woman walked into my room, I wanted to vomit. Sometimes I'll feel the twinge of someone's arthritis or the dull pounding of a headache, but this was an overwhelming sensation. I was going to throw up, Saxman writes in her memoir. I put my hand over my mouth and tried to keep it together. How are you feeling? I asked her as waves of nausea rolled over me. Terrific, she said. But I could see a black, hideous energy permeating her entire body. Was it AIDS? Was it cancer? Was it catching? I need you to see a doctor, I told her. I take supplements, she said. I'm in great health. Excuse me for a moment, I managed to mutter before I had to rush out of the reading room. I barely made it to the bathroom before I vomited. Please, I said when I returned, go get a checkup. You need a checkup. I'll be fine, really. No, you won't. You need a doctor. This is something very serious. I tried and tried, but she wouldn't listen to me. That happens sometimes. A few months later, I saw her obituary in the paper.
What was it?
I don't know. But no, thank you.
No, thank you. I'm good, thanks. I'd rather just appear in the obituaries.
I know, for real. Okay, so anyway, that's my take on psychics. I'm very intrigued by them. I think that it's a genuine gift. I watch all the shows. I think some are more legit than others.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, find it fascinating.
That is really
cool. Just never want to talk to one.
I feel like that would be so draining.
Oh, 100%.
So draining.
Yeah.
Like every time someone's sick, you go and barf because you feel their pain.
Yeah.
Or their future pain, even. It's not even something they're going through at the time.
Or you feel pain from people that are no longer here. You feel, ghosts' pain, spirits' pain. Literally all the time. That has to be exhausting.
The other divination type that we were going to talk about, we talked about tarot reading, we talked about psychics, and I want to talk about palm reading. Let's talk. Actually, I want to read our palms.
Okay.
Or have us read our palms. I think it'll be fun. Okay, so palmistry or chiromancy is the meaning of palm reading or hand prediction, and you do it to learn a person's personalities, fortune, or future by analyzing their hands. Now, it depends on if you're a guy or a girl, which hand you want to look at. Okay, so for females, the right hand is what you're born with, and the left is what you've accumulated throughout your life. For men, it's the other way around. The left hand is what you're born with, and the right is what you've accumulated throughout your life.
Okay.
So pick a hand, but not just any hand. For insight into your work life and how you present yourself to the world, focus on your dominant hand. So I'm right-handed.
I am too.
Okay. To examine personal relationships, dreams, and emotional struggles, look at the other hand. Ooh, that one sounds fun. According to hand analysts and palm readers, a less prominent line reflects an area of life that may need work, while a deeper one signals that the characteristic related to that line is strong and developed.
Are you sure it's not just how much you use your hand and bend it? Kind of like I have this really pronounced wrinkle on my forehead because I'm constantly arching one eyebrow.
No, because you're like...
Okay.
You're born clenching your fist.
Some people work with their hands. They could.
Why are you the skeptic in this episode?
I think I am a little bit skeptical.
Okay. All right. First, we're going to look at the headline, and that is, so it's the middle one. I'm just going to read these so that whoever's listening to this can read their own palm. This will be fun.
All right.
Tell us what you guys get. Okay. So if it's a short line ending near the center of your palm, mine's not.
Nope.
You're a fast thinker who reaches conclusions without any hemming and hawing. Well, that's not me.
Mine is not short.
If it's a long, straight line extending across the palm and toward the pinky, mine is.
Yep.
Analyze much? You often find yourself mulling things over and over before coming to a decision. Okay, I'm starting to believe this.
Okay, yeah. Wait. Oh, wait. Which hand are we looking at? Right.
You're supposed to be looking at your dominant hand.
Okay, whoops. All right. But yes, still same.
Okay, the line splits into two. You're sensitive to others. You can easily see someone else's perspective.
It does at the very end.
Yeah, mine does at the very end. It's really hard to see in here.
Yeah.
I need a flashlight. This means you may change your opinion now and then. And then a long curved line running down toward the bottom corner of the palm means you're a creative thinker who can imagine many possible outcomes or approaches to any situation.
It is slightly curved, but it's not like pointing to the bottom of my palm.
It goes down. It would go down to like the bottom corner if that were the case.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so then we're going to look at the heart line, which is the one above that.
Okay.
If you have a long straight line ending below the index finger.
Nope.
No, mine ends below my middle finger.
Same.
If you have a long straight line ending below the index finger, you're a rational, analytical thinker who always considers other feelings, and people appreciate that about you.
Nope.
If you have a short straight line ending between the middle and index fingers.
Yep.
Mine's not straight. It's kind of curved. We'll see. Okay. You need your freedom. You show your love through actions more than words.
Oh, interesting.
If you have a long curved line arcing up and reaching the base of the middle finger, no. Your passions and desires drive you, and you don't care who knows it. Okay. If it's a short curved line arcing up and ending about a half inch below the base of the middle finger. Yeah. Mine's like an inch.
I don't know.
You are reserved and prefer small groups to big ones. You open up in one-on-one settings. That is so you. Are you sure? Yours doesn't end there.
It's right there. I don't know.
A line with 2 or more X's at the outer palm. Outer palm. Ooh, I have a couple X's.
Oh, I have 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, then you've experienced a deep personal betrayal.
Oh, shit. All right.
A line that splits in 2. Mine does toward like the middle finger. Let's see. You have a habit of putting your emotions on the back burner to meet others' needs. Oh my God. If that's not the Enneagram 2 in me.
Right.
Okay. So now the lifeline. That's the bottom one.
Okay. The one that curves down.
Yes. It almost kind of meets the...
By the fat of your thumb.
Yes.
Yeah. Mine does.
Fat?
No, this little pudge part on your hand.
The meat.
The meat.
Okay.
Yes, mine does meet with that line. Does yours?
Yes.
Okay.
Long line curving around the ball. It's called the ball.
Sorry, the fat part
of
your
the ball
thumb.
of the thumb and ending at the base of the palm. Yeah, I mean, that's mine. You're a rock whom people count on to stay strong in difficult times.
Nice.
If it's a short line ending near the center of the palm.
Mine goes to the bottom, I think. First one.
Yeah, it does. When the going gets tough, keeping busy helps you feel safe and secure. If it's a faint line, mine is very faint. You may need to chill out now and then. Yoga, meditation, walking, or taking time to play could do you good. I want to see what our hands and our fingers say. Okay, so there's different hand shapes.
Oh.
Earth is broad, square palms and fingers, thick or coarse skin, ruddy color. The length of the palm equals the length of the fingers. So I don't have that.
The length? I don't think so.
Well, you would also have thick, coarse skin, broad, square palms, ruddy color.
Okay.
You're pale as can be. Okay, so that's Earth. Air, square or rectangular palms with long fingers, sometimes protruding knuckles, low set thumbs, dry skin. Okay, why are you coming for me like that? Length of the palm less than the length of the fingers.
I think mine are about equal.
Okay, I think I'm air. Sociable, talkative, and witty. Can be shallow, spiteful, and cold. Comfortable with the mental and the intangible. Does things in different and radical ways. I like this.
Ooh.
Okay, water. Long, sometimes oval-shaped palm with long, flexible, conical fingers.
Nope.
Length of the palm equals the length of the fingers, but is less than the width across the widest part of the palm.
This is my hand. You tell me.
I feel like your fingers are the same length as your palm.
Yeah.
So you might be water, which means you're creative, perceptive, and sympathetic. You can be moody, emotional, and inhibited. This is you. Introvert. You do things quietly and intuitively.
Yep, that's me.
So you're water and I'm air.
Oh, nice.
We really don't go together if you look at that.
I also am terrified of water, so.
Okay, now do your hand like this. Look at the mounts. That's
Okay.
what the fleshy bit is called.
We're kind of like we're holding something delicate in our hands. Our fingers
Yeah.
are curved slightly over
You're
our
like
palms.
cupping.
Yes, like a boob. Picture a boob in your hands and then pull your hand away.
Why do you have to do that visual? I was going to say an egg.
Oh, sorry. Picture an egg.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Okay. So the fleshy bits below your fingers are called mounts.
Mine are pillowy.
Okay, so on the outside, under the pinky is Mercury. Next to it is Sun. Next to it is Saturn. Next to it is Jupiter. And then, like, the little cushion between your thumb, like the fatty part that Rachel offended me before with, is Venus. If you have a high Venus mount, it indicates a predisposition for hedonism, promiscuity, and the need for instant gratification.
Where's yours?
It's pretty high. A non-existent Venus mount indicates little interest in family matters. So at least I care about my family. Yours isn't that high. You have no clue, do you? You're just like...
I don't. I'm just like, tell me.
She's like holding her hand up. Let's see. The mount under your index finger is called the Jupiter mount. If this is well developed, it means you are dominant, possibly self-centered, and aggressive. A lack of one means you lack confidence. Well, mine is almost non-existent. So
I want to see yours.
I have no confidence.
Mine are all poofy. All of them. Except the one under my pinky is the poofiest.
Ours are different because the one under your ring finger is really poofy. I wonder what that means. Okay, hold on.
But no, look at this. Look at how big.
I know. We'll get to what
These
that means
two.
in a moment.
I want to know what these two mean.
Okay. All right. Let's see. The middle finger is the Saturn mount. A high mount shows you're stubborn, cynical, and prone to depression. If it's low, it's an indicator of superficiality and disorganization. Well, that's why mine's low. I'm disorganized. The Sun mount. Okay, so this is the one under your ring finger, which is really poofy for you, but it's kind of like medium for me. You're quick-tempered, extravagant, and prideful. If you don't have one, you lack imagination.
Oh, all
At
right.
least you're imaginative.
Okay.
And then the Mercury mount, which I think is the poofiest for both of us.
Yes, we're very poofy under the pinky. What? What?
If it's protruding, you talk too much.
Oh, good Lord. Why do we have a podcast?
Right?
It's so fitting.
If it's low, you're shy. Well,
That's it?
Yeah.
All of the other ones had such long, intricate explanations, and ours was like, you talk too much.
Oh, but you know what? None of this is based on science, and your hands are known to change throughout time, so don't take any of it too seriously.
The more you use them. Okay, well, there you
I
go.
think it's a good place to wrap this one up. Woo! Guys, if this amounts to a cohesive and entertaining episode, it's going to be like really intense editing. So,
well, I feel like we gave you a lot to think about.
I feel like everybody knows me on a deeper personal level, and I'm not sure how.
Well, me too.
You all know that I'm selfish now.
So, yeah, you get a little bit of a glimpse onto, what's on the other side. I find it kind of interesting.
Yeah. You guys should let us know what you got if you followed along.
What does your hand say about your personality? Have you ever had a tarot card reading? And how do you feel about psychics? And are you a psychic? If you are, we would love to hear from you.
Yes, I would love to interview a psychic.
I would love to have you interview a psychic and then tell me about it.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
All right, guys. Well, good luck sleeping.
Good luck sleeping.